Welcome to Retrograde. This is episode number 54, and today we're going to be discussing Abes Exoddus. My name is Jack Marshall. I'm joined today by Anthony Hobday.
Hello.
Lizanne Fisher.
Hi.
And James McFadden.
You're sounding sparky today, Jack.
Thank you.
Very energetic.
Back once again with the Retrograde Masters. In a squelching Brighton.
Squelching?
Squelching?
That's not the right
do you mean
word.
scorching?
It's squelching and a bit of like... Well, squelching because I'm sweating.
Squelching is mud.
So it's like
I was
hot,
wondering
but
where
I'm
the
sweating.
squelching was coming from. Every
Yeah.
step you take.
You shouldn't squelch.
Squelch is a noise.
Don't squelch me, guys, okay?
You shouldn't squelch regardless of how sweaty you are. You squelch in mud.
Well, a squelch is... Well,
Squelch
no.
is a noise as well. It's like a soppy, wet,
Yeah.
farting kind of noise.
It makes
isn't
it when you walk through mud.
Well, it's like a onomatopoeia. So it sounds like
no,
the thing it is.
no, the noise does not
Squelch.
sound squelch. No.
Squelch. It is.
Could almost sound like squelch.
Well, listen to me like my armpit. I'm so sweaty. Squelch. That's my armpit.
Wow.
We all enjoying the sun, though?
No.
No.
I
Yeah.
hate
Okay.
it.
Good. That's
I
'cause
don't. I hate
disgusting.
we're all
it.
geeks and we sit inside and play in the cold. That's what we like.
Yeah, down straight with the fan going, the curtains shut. Sunlight. I swore.
Oh, dear.
Sorry.
Oh, the sound.
There we
Sorry.
go. Uh,
No, it's the trees. It's my hay fever. I can't enjoy summer because I'm allergic to it.
I'm exactly the same, and I've got to be very careful on this show that I don't go and do all those noises that listeners love. I think that's what they're in for. Guys are
The
listening going,
snorting.
I really hope Jack snorts in this episode.
Squelching.
Squelching. you
Friend
know,
of the show, Jack the Little Piggle.
Oh, they're tuning for the squelching. Anyone got anything you want to share?
Yeah, I got a PS4.
Woo!
It's well good.
Oh, wait, what?
What?
You gonna invite us around? What games
That's
you
how
get?
I got Killzone for the graphics. It's well pretty, but it's a shooter and it's on console, so you know.
Oh, blood, that sounds tick.
Killzone's not Killzone. Infamous is good. Infamous is fun. It's very pretty, but it's also a well designed open world jumpy game. I like it because there's later on in the game you basically get the ability to just zoom from one end of the city to the other like as a ball of neon, which I've been waiting to do for some time. Finally my dreams have been realised in virtual form. Charlotte bought me Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, which took me 46 minutes to complete.
Wow.
But I mean, it has side missions and stuff, so more value, whatever. But I mean, I'd probably
That is poor.
Was that a good 46 minutes, though?
it was a good 46 minutes. I've put a few more hours in for the side stuff, but
that's
it's
not bad, then.
I mean, I love Metal Gear.
How much was it?
Like 20 quid.
Right.
So it's steep. If you're not totally
50p
into,
a minute.
Yeah, if you're not totally into Metal Gear, then don't go near
Just
it.
like me.
What, 50p a minute?
Yeah, bad
A bit
joke.
expensive, isn't it,
Bad
Jack?
joke.
I think I
Yeah.
paid 50p a minute for some experiences. Not with you.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the, like,
What experiences?
a roller coaster. You meant a roller coaster,
Sex.
right? Oh, okay.
You would pay for
Straight.
sex.
Actually, no, I realise now that I just said I would pay for sex, and I don't think I would.
Well, you'd pay 50p a minute for sex.
Jack
Depends on the
knows
sex, I
that. Jack has first-hand information about that
We've
one.
gone to a really weird place really
If
early
I was
on.
about to sleep with a girl anyway, and she was like, actually, it's 50p a minute,
I'd be like, I've got to get a bus home, though.
I'd be like, yeah, right, it's not that much.
You're only planning to last a minute then.
Yeah. I'd be like, let's do this quick.
Actually, not in Brighton.
I've got
50p won't
about-
get you far.
Like a taxi ride. I've only got like about four minutes worth. Are you going to get the Last of Us HD remaster?
Oh
remake?
yeah, definitely. I sold The Last of Us that I had on the PS3 in preparation because I know the price is totally going to floor as soon as the remaster comes out. So yeah, I'm ahead of the game. I also got Charlotte got
That's very
Assassin's Creed 4.
Okay.
Which I mean, I never really liked the Assassin's Creed series, and I feel like the controls, there's like 30 different context-sensitive controls. It's kind of a clusterfuck. You can beat that if you'd like, but
Of course we will.
it has some nice RPG elements. I like sailing the boat about. That's really cool.
Yeah,
It reminds me of Wind Waker. The best part of Wind Waker is it's very nice.
50p a minute prostitutes. That doesn't get bleeped. Just swear word that gets bleeped though.
Yeah,
think
what
of the
a
kids.
world.
Think
What
of
does
the
that
kids.
So why did you bring them up again? Why did you bring them up again? James has successfully moved the conversation away from these 50p
I was going to
prostitutes.
ask that you're a student and you're buying a PS4.
Yeah, it's overdraft, mate. What
I'm
are you going to do about it?
I'm working hard. I've just about got my GameCube.
Yeah,
When I
but
was
Jack, you have a bazillion games that you don't play.
Yeah, that's true. It's still in the wrapper.
Exactly.
Warhammer Space Marines still in the wrapper. Mint that
Nice.
is.
Very
When I was at
nice.
university, I saw people do some amazing things with that overdraft. It was like financial acrobatics.
Yeah, it's
I was
incredible.
impressed.
I bought wine.
What, 42 bottles of it from that pub quiz you won?
What? No.
Was
What
that
do you
not?
mean with that overdraft?
With my overdraft when I was a student.
I
I
thought
bought
you
wine.
meant when you said, what did you do recently? And you went, I bought wine. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
hey,
No.
your last 2 weeks.
I was just saying what I did with my overdraft. No, last 2 weeks, pretty much, I've just been playing Mario Kart. Because it's awesome. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased. I finally learned to drift.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
I've been playing Mario Kart all these years and never drifting. And now I can because they've made the mechanic a lot easier.
You used to have to wiggle.
You don't have to wiggle.
No,
There ain't no wiggling in this one.
While everyone's been getting excited about the Steam summer sale, going nuts for that, I've been going nuts for the good old games.com summer sale. I've been buying loads of stuff.
Right, but even worse than Steam, I think you'll never play those games ever.
I got Carmageddon. I
Have you
got
played it?
Abes Odyssey and Exoddus. Obviously, I got Medal of Honor War Chest for like $2.99.
What? Medal of Honor still exists? I thought they eradicated that from
Medal of
annals of
Honor
history.
War Chest.
This is good old game, so it's the...
Yeah, I know.
even the old version.
Yeah, I'm
exists.
surprised that anyone has any kind of memory of those games. I was
Screamer
surprised to learn
2.
that GOG is run by CD Projekt Red.
Oh, really? That's
Well,
really
CD
cool.
Projekt like the publisher, but because Red is the
Oh, is Red the actual
Developer,
development
yeah.
studio? Oh, okay, well, then the
Parent
publisher.
company.
As
yeah.
a retro gaming show, GOG or GOG or is awesome. Like, it's
George.
fantastic. Yeah, it's one of the best sites out there.
As long as you do PC games.
Yeah, it's
We're doing
definitely...
this.
well, there's a few on there that are kind of cross-genre, I guess.
It's good if you want to buy the
Like
old
Abe's
games that you want to
Exoddus,
play.
Yeah, well, I bought
Always
like
a good
the
point.
Tales of Monkey Island, which I don't think I'm ever going to play.
Ugh, nobody should buy that game.
It's
I
like,
started
it's
playing
like
those
6 of
and
them for $1.99.
They're pretty good. I mean, they were early Telltale.
Yeah.
Telltale obviously gotten better since, but they were pretty decent for what they were.
Anything to share, Anthony? Anything up to anything?
Nothing of note has really happened.
We had a really nice email from.
Wait, you're
oh.
going to let him get away with that?
He does it every week. I don't care anymore.
No, but the fact that but he has done something monumentous.
Oh, what's he done that? What's that?
He started a brand new job and he's moved to London.
Anthony's now
Yeah.
a post-op hooker.
He wouldn't want to.
50p a minute.
Listen, stop lying about me. Yes, I am now a post-op hooker. James is right.
How's the commute in this heat?
To being a post-op hooker.
Yeah, to your workplace.
It's only really one commute.
He only has to go to like the curb, so it's like 5 seconds.
Stop it.
No, seriously, because in this heat, commuting must be awful.
No, I mean, I don't know if it's just London, but the heat isn't too bad for me.
Oh, really?
Maybe because part of it's on the tube and
That's quite nice down on the tube sometimes.
I'm just wearing a shirt, so it's not like
Wait, what? The tube is normally really hot when I go
Yeah.
there. So in the summer, is it really cold? Like, is it
depend-
reverse land?
It depends on the tube station, I think. Because I remember when I used to get on the District Line, it was just really drafty. Because when the train comes through, it'd be this gorgeous draft come through. And it kept it like circulating. Maybe it's a circle line because the wind's just going
Circle
round.
line, yeah, it doesn't get any fresh air.
That draft is scary though, right? As a kid,
Yeah,
I
you
used to
get-
have loads of nightmares about trains, like, oh, trains going by and stuff. But when I'm in the London Underground and a train zooms by, I always get really worried that the backdraft or whatever is going to be so strong that I'm sucked under the wheels of the train and instantly crushed.
I'm normally worried there's a nutter behind me that's going to push me.
Oh, that's totally
So I always look
reasonable.
behind me and look at that little old woman behind me and I'm like, you touch me, love. You're coming with me if I go down.
See, the thing is, that was a very real fear for me because my
Yeah.
dad used to do that thing, you know, where you're standing on the edge of a swimming pool.
Oh, right,
And
I
he'd
see.
get you by the shoulders and he'd pretend to push you in and then pull you back and go, saved your life.
Oh, God.
He used to do that on train platforms as well. Not when trains were coming, thankfully.
Wait, he did that on train platforms?
Not when trains were coming.
No, that's really irresponsible.
Yeah, but not when trains
That
were
is
coming.
actually insane. Can you slap your dad for me? What is he
No.
doing? If you
I'm fine.
If you freaked
My
out one
sister,
time
though.
and you
No.
both fell on the tracks, what if you touched the one that's electrified and you both get cooked? That's insane.
It didn't happen.
It could have.
My mum used to tell him off for it. So
Okay.
But yeah.
Upsets
So he
me
used
so
to do.
much.
He used to do that.
Well,
he did
like-
it all the time, everywhere he could, all the
Oh.
time.
What line do you have to get on?
Oh, I'm only on the Victoria line for 3
It's
stops.
not a bad line, Victoria.
Yeah,
Come
it's a
on.
pretty short commute.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We had a really nice email in from David from North Carolina from USA after we spoke last week about cars and our knowledge of cars being very limited, going, I think Minis are still in England. Are they in England? I don't know where they are. And he wrote us to inform us very politely that Rolls-Royce and Mini brands are uniquely British and iconic around the world. They are both indeed now owned by BMW. This being the case, many people consider them British cars still. And he just had a big thing about how they're still, especially Rolls-Royce. My brother works for Rolls-Royce, so I should have known this. They still work. They're still in
Classic
Bristol.
Jack.
He works for the air and nautical side of it.
Is
so
he
I
in
don't really
charge
know
of the
about
rolling
car
or the
side.
roicing?
God, that's the
He's
best-
in charge of hoisting the rollers.
I'm going to see him
nice.
tomorrow. I'm going to use that joke. He'll love it. He'll go, not heard that one before, Slunk.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to the podcast before you see him.
And he'll be like, don't make the joke. I'm like, oh. Anyway, but yeah, they're all still based in the UK. So yeah, apologies if you got that mix up. But to be honest, we're not very well informed when it comes to stuff like that on the show. So
Or anything.
Cars, yeah. It's a good thing we're not a car show.
Yeah.
It's about it, yeah. Anything else anyone want to share before we move on?
I got a mini promotion at work.
Mini?
Are you
Mini
owned by?
promotion.
Are you owned by,
I'm not getting any money or any extra free periods.
are you owned by BMW now?
I wish. No.
James is on fire today, guys.
Apparently not, Jack. Apparently not.
What does your mini promotion entail?
I'm now leader of Key Stage 3 Drama.
So you have to do more work for no more money?
Yes, but the prestige and the duties it involves will enable me to get paid promotion a lot quicker.
By cloning yourself and then killing the other one off repeatedly.
Pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like Highlander.
Like the film The Prestige.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is what I was directly referencing.
Wait, the Prestige is about those magicians.
Yeah.
And he clones himself.
Hugh Jackman,
Spoiler alert.
David
Well,
Bowie.
it's like 7 years old,
Do they?
bro.
Yes.
I didn't watch enough of it because I realised it was going to get really, really...
It's amazing!
bleak.
I made
Bowie's in it.
I made Neil watch it, and he actually watched it instead of playing on his phone the whole time. So
Nice.
that was good.
He makes a magic box for him.
He does.
He's David Bowie.
He does.
Is that David Bowie's voice?
Apparently so.
Is it Bowie or Bowie? Because I always
It's
say
Bowie.
Well, I'm going to keep saying Bowie because it sounds better. But
I
It's
watched.
because his daughter's called. He spelt it the same way as the surname, but she's called Zoe Bowie. He spelled Zoe Zowie like his surname.
I thought that was his son.
Oh, did he do that to his son?
Yeah, and then he changed his name to Duncan Jones and directed Moon.
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Blimey.
Which is a brilliant film.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
Love that movie.
got caught today, and we have to be really careful with spoilers because people will get angry, but I got caught today watching the Queen visiting the Game of Thrones set in Belfast, and I was thoroughly disappointed. And get her off the throne now, because she went up to the big iron chair from the
She
Game
didn't
of
sit in
Thrones
it.
and she didn't sit in it.
What?
She just stared at it and went, "That's a lovely chair, I've got one like it at home," and then just walked off. And I was like, "Get in the chair."
Maybe she was
Get
still...
As
in
if
the
she...
chair.
Oh, Liz, what's
You
she
could
doing?
see all of them were like, "Come on, get in the chair, get
Sit in the chair, sit in the chair.
And
All
every
poised with
time-
their camera phones ready to take a picture of the Queen
Every
Elizabeth
time
sitting
she
in the
turned
Iron
to it,
Throne.
Jon Snow's there going, "Get in the chair," and all that. And she's just like, "Oh, it's a lovely chair," and just walked off. I was
Maybe-
like, "You
If she'd have done that, it would have been better than the time that Jon Snow met Jon Snow. Did you see that?
No, but I love the idea
Yeah,
of
no,
that.
it happened. Kit Harington did an interview with Jon Snow off of Channel 4 News. So it was when Jon Snow met Jon Snow.
Wow.
It was
The
great.
Queen was probably still rattled from the time in by the horses in Clash of Kings. Anthony knows what I'm talking about.
I don't.
Are we not?
Please don't tell me that's true, because I will bleep the whole thing.
What, when you
I
don't
will
believe
bleep-
me?
That's going to get completely bleeped.
I just see his face on his
I just backed my face into the mic.
How obvious, because James said Clash of Kings and that's the second book.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the next book in the series that hasn't come out yet, but
We would have lost so many listeners.
Yeah.
All 4 of them would have walked
No,
away.
that's not a spoiler.
definitely
Spoiler.
does die though. So
Have any of you actually read the books?
yeah,
Yes.
he
Have you
dies.
really?
He
I,
dies.
I own all the books.
He dies.
I own them
dies.
all.
What's wrong with you lot? Just watch the show.
I
Definitely
haven't
dies.
read them.
I'm going to bleep. I don't know if to bleep you or not now, and I don't have to Wikipedia whether that actually happens.
Just Google.
Anyway, should we do the giveaway?
Yeah, go on in competition time.
In the last episode, we were giving away... the Paul Monahan giveaway! In the last episode, we were giving away Cave Story Plus and Metal Slug 3, which are both games featuring running to the right, although running to the left also features in Cave Story, and shooting guns. And the winner of that competition is Aiden, which I hope I'm pronouncing right. Aidan. Might be Aiden.
Sounds like a Mortal
It's
Kombat
Aiden.
character.
But yeah, probably Aiden. We're going to contact you on Twitter and give you the codes for that. And for the next episode,
Sweet.
we're giving away To the Moon, which is a kind of a great... I would call it an RPG, but it's got, it's more of an adventure game.
like a narrative puzzler
Yeah.
thing.
And Thomas Was Alone, which the theme of which is no combat, because the theme of this was basically combat, so the theme of the next one, no combat.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to win To the Moon and Thomas Was Alone, both great games, we'll put the details on Twitter, just retweet those, and you'll be in it to win it.
Can I ask a question?
Go on.
Why is Thomas alone?
He's actually not for most of the game.
This is
Are you Thomas?
You can play all of them, but they're actually shapes. They're not even people.
I was just about to say,
That's
and then I
abstract,
realised.
man.
I was just about to say, and I just realised, actually, I have no idea. But the guy who's designed that game is English, and he's making a new game called, I want to say Stealth, and it looks really, really good for a guy working on his own. And I don't know his name, I don't know the actual name of the game.
Tom
Bithell, that sounds very familiar. But yeah, look up Thomas Alone and look up his new games he developed.
Did he narrate it himself?
No, he got the. Didn't he get the Who was that guy?
Jeremy Irons.
No, who was the guy that did the book? Yes Man.
Dave Gorman.
Was that Dave Gorman?
Danny Wallace is his housemate.
One of the two.
Yeah, because Dave Gorman's the other guy. I think he got Danny Wallace to do it.
That's good.
To do the voiceover for Thomas Was Alone, but I might be wrong about that. I know it's a famous British personality. But that's it. We're going to put the details on Twitter, retweet those.
Yeah, you know the drill. Woo! Okay, let's have a brief blurb on the game from our guest host. Let's go with Neil Skinner.
Oddworld Abes Exoddus is a platform video game developed by Oddworld inhabitants and published by GT Interactive. It is a sequel to the video game Oddworld Abes Odyssey. It is considered a spin-off of the title in the Oddworld series and not part of the main Oddworld quintology. It was released in 1998 for the PlayStation video games console and Microsoft Windows.
Thanks, Daniel. And if you have a blog, podcast, website, or anything you want to promote, get in touch with us on Twitter, and you can be our guest VO for one of our shows. Anthony, did you see what happened with Dr. Dre this week? Well, last week, the last couple of weeks.
Dr. Dre?
So he made these things called headphones. What they do, you put them on your head,
Yeah.
and they're like phones, I guess. They play music into your ears.
You just realised that phones doesn't make any.
I'm trying to make a connection of why they're called headphones.
It's because the word phones relates to phonics, which is sound in Latin.
Well, I was going to say if the owner of Apple is listening, but he's dead, so he's not. But if he's listening, you should have.
The great and powerful Woz is still alive.
Well, maybe
Yeah, he left.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
The new CEO Tim Cook is listening.
Tim Cook, if you're listening, you missed out on a trick there, because we know these guys over at Tweaked Audio who are fantastic. They got loads of headphones in all sizes, all shapes as well. And if you go over to them and buy some headphones, use promo code Retrograde, you'll get 33% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty on your headphones.
That's crazy.
So
Wow,
Tweaked Audio.
33%.
Tweakedaudio.
They could have stopped at 20%, but they didn't. They went all the way up to 30%.
I'd say 15. I'm hooked.
Well, we met halfway when I spoke to them. It was a bit of a handshake agreement, gentleman's agreement. They said 40, I said 20, said meet me halfway, 33 deal, and that was it. We signed on it. But yeah, Tim Cook, if that's the right guy, he missed a trick.
Bit of a handshake agreement, we signed on it.
But yeah, so make sure you check that tweakedaudio.com for some awesome headphones. But yeah, we're here to talk about Abes Exoddus, and I'm worried I've forgotten to do something else in the show, but no, that's it.
No,
now.
you said the voiceover and then you did the tweaked audio. Usually they're the other way around, but that's fine.
You're Jack.
Oh, sorry guys.
No, that's why it feels a bit off to you.
They're leaving in numbers. They're going, get out of this place. I don't know what's going on anymore.
No, but Abes Exoddus.
Abes Exoddus, yes, Lizanne. You checked this one, right?
Yes. When it was one Christmas, when the PlayStation had just come out, and
Magical times.
yeah, we all wanted to play. Well, I say we all, me and my brother. My sister didn't care. Neither did my mum. We really wanted a PlayStation.
Where does your dad stand on this?
That's what I'm getting to. We really wanted a PlayStation for Christmas, and so our Christmas list to Father Christmas, we all just requesting PlayStation, and then like my
He
dad.
bought one and then kicked it onto the track.
Go on, Lizanne.
Sorry.
Carry on.
As a Christmas morning comes around,
Aww.
and there's a mystery present under the tree.
We don't know why it's in the tube station, but carry on.
Just it's to my dad from Father Christmas, and we're all like, whoa, why is Dad getting presents for Father Christmas? This isn't fair.
That's went out of order.
And he bought himself a PlayStation that Christmas, and he bought games that he wanted to play.
Whoa.
So he bought, what did we get in our starter games? We got Crash Bandicoot, Worms, and Abes Exoddus.
Wow, that's
with
a
the three
really good
games.
lineup of games.
Yeah, well, he listened to the guy in the shop when he went in to ask about what games to buy, because obviously it just launched a few months earlier. And the guy recommended these three as games that my dad would be interested in and we'd be interested in and stuff like that. So I completed Crash Bandicoot quite quickly. Then I got into Worms quite heavily like that. And then we didn't have any more games for the PlayStation. So I was like, I'll have a go at this then.
Shonky looking one over here.
Exactly, because it's, it's a weird cover. I was
got a
quite
weird
young. I was
creature
just
on it,
like,
yeah.
it's all a bit weird. Really long intro.
Yeah.
But actually ended up really liking it. mainly because of the fart button. But whatever.
Worms, though, bloody amazing back then.
Let's do worms instead. No, okay.
I wanna
I'll
know
put
how
worms
you-
on in a few weeks.
How could you get really deeply into worms? I'm interested to know, like, to what extent did your devotion to that game
Skillful.
go? Really? Because
Let's not actually
Yeah,
do
well,
worms, by the way.
Original worms, like original worms.
Yeah.
You know that when you're young, you don't need to be engaged by the theme or
Yeah.
something. It's just you screw around with it because it's
Because it's funny.
better than homework.
Plus, you play
And the
Do-
worms do
you play
little funny
Dota,
deaths.
So
Yeah, I play. How
Jeez.
could anyone possibly want to play Dota? That makes no sense.
absolute mental.
$10 million,
Preach into the
guys.
choir.
$10 million.
Anyway.
You're in it to win it, James.
Naturally.
So I never completed it. I got stuck halfway through it when I was quite young. But
Do
Yeah.
you think, being that you're a drama teacher, and I want to dive into probably my most interesting part of the game for me personally, do you think maybe it resonated in you a little bit because it's actually got quite a great story to it? It's a very heartwarming character who's very
Oh,
different
yeah.
from any other game. The character is... I was reading a design article about the game and how obviously he doesn't attack, he hasn't got guns. They wanted to make it very... Like, they wanted to make it like that you progress through empathy, not through violence and stuff like that, which sounded really weird to me when I read it. But I was like, okay, that makes sense. So do you think maybe it was resonating in you that you like the character?
well, essentially, this is Lemmings, but instead of you having a cursor to make the Lemmings do things,
Yeah, you do it with him.
you have Abe. Is essentially what the game is. So it's like an advanced form of Lemmings. So it's still got the comedy in it. It's wonderfully animated.
Yeah.
And it does increase in difficulty.
I think, to be honest, it had to have the comedy, because if it didn't, this would be an incredibly
yeah.
dark game.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd say it still is, in a way.
It does-
Well, you are trying to break them out of this underground mine.
It
They're all blind.
It
Yeah.
borderlines on being, I could almost, off the top of my head, one of the kind of dark. What's the word for like dark comedy? Is that the right term?
Yeah, dark comedy.
Like, it's probably one. Yeah, in that sense, it's probably the most I've ever seen of dark comedy in a game. I can't think of anything else as like Conker's Bad Fur Day, but
That's not really dark comedy.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. So you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's really hard to think of anything quite like it. Even
Pokemon Black.
and again, Lemmings had it when you kind of blew up your lemmings, and they go, oh no, and all that. But yeah.
It feels like maybe the British are better at dark comedy than the American developers are.
So it is
Yeah.
developed by Brits.
This wasn't a British developed game.
Oh, really?
No, this was American made.
Wow,
Oh.
because I specifically didn't
It's-
research the developer, but I was sure this was British.
It's always
Yeah, I
had
always assumed.
it's always had a reputation of being a British developer, and it's not. And I will let you guys carry on talking while I double check that, because no, I'm pretty sure, because it was Lorne Lanning, and I wish I had the other name of the other person now.
Lorne.
Lorne Lanning and Sherry McKenna made the game, and
No.
they were based at they met a visual effects studio called Ribbon and Hughes, who again are American. Do you guys know about Ribbon and Hughes?
No.
because that's
No,
part of my
I don't
trivia.
even know what words you're saying. You're just going Ribbon and Muse.
Rhythm and Hughes were
Quality
a
podcast.
visual effects studio who were the famous ones who they won an Oscar for Life of Pi and went bankrupt at the same time. And they
Right.
were
Well, that's because Life of Pi was rubbish.
no, but they were the guys that they pioneered the whole thing of bad treatment in the visual effects industry. Remember, they had that whole thing on Facebook. Everyone had green logo, like profile pictures, to support the visual effects industry.
Really? I never
no
saw
one
that.
I
saw that.
didn't
No one
see
saw
that,
that.
no.
It was
That's
a
probably why
famous.
they're bankrupt.
It was a famous
No one
moment
cares.
because they won the Oscar and they went on stage and the guy had like 20 seconds. They started playing the Jaws music, dun, 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 to cut him off just as he was talking about visual effects and how they've gone bankrupt even though they just won an Oscar. Anyway, these two who made this game, they met there, and that's American based. But you guys carry on talking, and I'm going to double check that.
Guys, it's rhythm and hues, like rhythm and blues.
I get it.
But
Nice.
hues.
That's a
Yeah,
part of
it's
respect.
cunning. It's cunning.
Yeah, I always assumed it was by a British developer because it's kind of janky.
Janky?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a bit. It's not rough.
Do you mean like clunky?
Yeah, it's a bit like. I don't know what janky even means in my head. Like I can see the concept, but I can't explain it. But it kind of means like it doesn't fit together very well.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit kooky or messy. I don't know. Janky. So because like British developers usually aren't as well.
Yeah. So to interrupt, yeah, and I'm just confirming. I don't know why I doubted myself because I'm so good at this. Yeah, but found in California by Lorne Lanning and Sherry McKenna,
Jeez.
headquarters in Berkeley. The only reason you might be getting a little bit confused is there's a game studio here in Yorkshire called Just Add Water, and they've started picking up all the kind of HD remakes of these games, and they're
Maybe.
currently making them. But no, these guys have always been a American developer, but they are. But I know what you mean. For some reason, they have seemed to have over the years. Some people do mistakenly think they are English, and I think that is maybe because the game's humour.
Well, yeah, the funny voices and things. That seems so much more British than it does
Yeah.
American. Because the voices at the start, they're almost terrible. Like the story voices and everything, are like this is what happened last time. They're almost terrible, but they're just charming enough to make you like them. And I feel like the game that represents my views of the game to a T, because it's not my sort of game at all, especially since it's
a puzzle game. You don't like puzzles.
It doesn't blast happiness anywhere on your body.
No, there's no
There's
guns or
no
anything.
shooting.
And you can just screw yourself over so quickly.
Yeah.
Like if you get two, I forget their name now. What Mudokins? What's the race
Mudokins, I
that
think
Apes
they're-
part of?
I can't
The
remember.
guys, the dudes. Yeah, we know.
Mordekins.
Yeah, the guys.
Mordekins.
Mad Mornigan.
Look it up because we're going to have to say it a lot.
Like Mudokons, but I don't know if that's pronunciation. Mudokons, and he's the bad guy's called Glokons.
He looks like Mudokon or something.
Mudokons.
Yeah, if you get two of those annoyed at each other, they just start slapping each other forever,
Yeah.
and they both die. It's like I can't do anything to stop you guys. Because you apologise to one, the other one keeps slapping him, and then it's. So, but correct me if I'm wrong. You can screw yourself over, kind of like.
Oh yeah,
irreversibly.
I got trapped once in an infinite loop. There was a level much later on where there's these crazy guys running around underneath you, and I did a quick save up the top of this platform because I was like, "Phew, finally made it on this platform. I'll save it here."
Yeah.
No matter what I did, I could not get off that platform without dying.
There is an option in
and I had
the-
to restart the whole game.
It's one of the things they brought in for Exodus, obviously, was obviously the quick save, but there's also the restart path, so you could restart kind of the area again,
Oh,
which is a
where
little
were
bit
you
of a shame.
15 years ago when I was trapped in that infinite loop?
It was in the options. But
I'll
yeah,
option you.
one of the things that Exodus did over Odyssey, because it's very similar to Odyssey, but they made it much more user friendly, I guess, very quick saving, things like that. The tutorial was a lot cleaner in this one, which I really appreciate going back and playing this now. The tutorial at the start, like a lot of the times when we do games on this show, they're not very pick up and play friendly. You almost have to have a manual to work it out, and the little signs at the start saying, press down and do this, I thought that was awesome. They got me straight
They're a
back
really
into
nice
the game.
design as well.
Yeah.
I think this has aged very, very well.
The only
Go on.
problem I have with that is that you have to wait for the scrolling text to go by so you can read all of it.
And that's just wasting your time, isn't it? You ain't got time for that.
That's kind of a cool piece of flavour, though.
I know, but it's such a slow game, and the fact that you can irreversibly screw yourself over and either have to reload a save or restart the path, it reminds me a lot of point-and-click adventures. Mainly because you've got an objective to solve puzzles.
Well, it
but
essentially
this
is one,
obviously-
isn't it? But with no
Yeah.
pointing or clicking.
And with really.
So an adventure game then.
In a manner of speaking,
I mean, it's a first-person shooter, but not with guns and not in first person.
I was going to say with precise movement, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is clunky movement.
yeah.
Kind
In
of
the-
like a platform with no platforms.
Well,
Kind of
there
like a
are many
platform with no
platforms.
fluid movement. Like you have to move at certain steps. And
I mean, yeah, I did find the strange thing to go back and play was the controls, especially when you're like, I was playing on a PC, so maybe that's a bit unfair. I don't know what the PlayStation actually did, I can't remember. But like, pressing 1 said hi, press 2 said follow me, 5 slapped, 7 said sorry. And it was quite hard remembering all these actions on a keypad.
Yeah.
It was a bit odd, and there was a lot of stuff like rolling, and that the bit where you had to turn the bombs off, I couldn't help but keep rolling into them. I was like, oh dear. But
I kept doing that. Yeah.
But there's a lot of, which I don't really mind with the games, it's quite forgiving with the quick save, but it's just a lot of trial and error, which I don't mind in games. I don't mind doing trial and error in games.
Really?
Yeah, no, I had no problem
well,
with it.
Super Meat Boy is a perfect example of trial and error.
But I
done
guess
right.
that's speedy trial and error.
With-
This
yeah.
is,
Super Meat
I'll
Boy.
try something for 10 minutes, oh, it hasn't worked, I'll have to go back and try something else for
The-
This is
10
the
minutes.
worst kind of trial.
The trial and error in Super Meat Boy
Yeah.
is a lot more intuitive, though, because you see the problem before you. You can think about how you're going to solve it and be quite close to the money before you actually attempt it. Whereas with this, there's so much abstraction there. You don't know what you're going to be able to interact with
I
and in
guess-
what way.
Yeah, maybe Super Meat Boy is not so much trial and error as it is just trial.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's still trial and error, but you're not like, I'll try this. You're just trying the same thing
You
every
don't
time.
have to
Super
fail.
Meat Boy
You
is
can
just
see
error.
You can see the level and then do it first time perfectly if you're good.
Yeah,
but
so-
in this game, you would have to fail before
So really
you...
you're trying the same thing every time in Super Meat Boy, but in this you're trying different things every time.
Yeah, yeah.
And 99 times out of 100 they fail. And then you get to the next screen. But the movement, like jumping from one platform to another where you have to sprint to make the jump, is a good example of, and I think I've mentioned this in maybe 1 or 2 shows before, of a game being more difficult because of the controls. And that's one way you can pad a game out. Another one is length by putting in like collector things.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't pad a game out by making bad controls.
Yeah, you do.
Well, apparently you do, Jack.
No, you don't.
Because this game takes longer just because...
Controls are always meant to be intuitive.
No, they're not meant to be intuitive. In this game, I'm pretty sure they're designed to make it a longer game because in a platforming game, like a regular platform game, you get from one platform to the other, you don't even think about it. In this game, you have to maybe attempt it 3 times. And that makes the game longer, and I'm pretty sure they intended it that way, because they could have made him run...
I don't think I think it was more just the limitations of design at the time. Before this...
No way.
A side-scrolling 2D game like this, which required quite in-depth controls, the only thing that this existed was, like, was that one, Another World? That one.
Also, this game reminds me a lot of Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
In terms of platforming, because that was also annoyingly frustrating for no reason.
But, like, I don't think they've perfected that kind of control of platforming until maybe even, like, Limbo.
What?
You're saying the control. I don't think they would ever make the controls purposely difficult so that it makes it longer.
I'm saying they could have made it Super Mario World style platforming. Just like fluid movement.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant they were like, oh, how about we do it annoyingly that if he crawls down, he'll roll sometimes by a proper accident. I think they would go, no, that's a pain in the arse. Stop doing that.
No, I think there's a definite chance that they intentionally made it a pain in the arse so it's a longer game and harder to pull off.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and that for me is kind of unforgivable. I mean, I haven't really I played the original, not this, when I was a kid, and I hated it then, and I still hate it, and I hate this one even more. And I think outside of all of the just terrible design, the clunky controls, the really irritating puzzle mechanics are just it's dull. My most hated part of this game has to be the visuals, because I mean, they're detailed.
Really?
They're detailed. There is an art direction there. They're consciously going for a look, but it's grim, it's gross, it's oppressive.
It's meant to be.
I know, but it's like execution is meant to be pretty nasty as well. That doesn't mean I respect what execution is about.
You should love this. You're all about post-apocalyptic worlds and dystopia.
I was going to say I'm on the complete opposite. I think this game is fantastic.
It's not for PS1. It's graphics.
It's not. It's gross. It's ugly.
And don't forget that Lizanne probably brought the games. You had say Tomb Raider and Metal Gear Solid, but you put things in like Crash Bandicoot then once, and you put this in. Even maybe because you think it's ugly, but look how different that looks to anything else that was around.
If there's one thing this game confirms for me, it's that different isn't inherently good.
That's right, kids. Don't be different. Blend in.
No, think about it, right? Think about Master Sculptor, okay? He's perfect. He can create something that's absolutely lifelike, yeah? He creates this beautiful statue of, a really muscular man, sort of in the vein of one of those ancient Roman statues.
Yeah.
But the guy's covered head to toe, cancerous tumours or whatever. He's deformed. He has, 8 fingers on one hand and something. And it looks gross. You can respect the workmanship that goes into it, but it's still not pleasant to behold. You still don't like it.
Isn't art all about pushing forward and going into new areas and...
subverting the form?
Yeah, like music.
No,
music is as well.
Art isn't all about anything. What is art? What are you talking about?
That's why I don't like art. It's because it doesn't have a definition.
You love art because you like games.
Drama's got a clear defined set of rules.
Drama is art.
But yeah, by your logic, art would still just be people painting portraits that look lifelike. We would have been aiming to get lifelike imagery.
No one's been into them since they invented the camera.
Cubism and stuff like that would never have happened because it would have been ugly.
Cubism isn't ugly. It's not stuff like Picasso. Abstract art isn't ugly. This is specifically ugly because it's grim. It's gross. It's not aesthetically. It doesn't.
It's not meant
appeal.
To be aesthetically pleasing.
I see James's point in that it's an intentionally ugly game.
Yeah.
And some people respect. I think the graphics are great for the time. Although I also agree that I don't really like the aesthetic.
Exactly. Technically, I respect it because the programmers, the people designing this, the people who crafted the engine and actually put it together, they're great at their jobs. I respect that. The people who came up with the art direction, I don't respect because it is actually gross. It totally puts me off.
What I think is important to point out is that Abes Odyssey, Abes Exoddus, maybe not the later 3D games, but especially these first two, the controls and the graphics are what made the games distinctive, right? They're known for that. So if they got rid of them, it would be, I think, way less memorable. So even though I don't like those things about it, those are what make the Abe games the Abe games.
Oh, totally, yeah, and I just think it's a huge flaw. I mean, if you want an example of graphics that are grim and dark but still beautiful, Jack mentioned Limbo earlier. I think that's a really good example because it's got the whole black and white sort of shaded thing down perfectly. That's really nice to behold. But the colour palette is browns and purples.
Well, that's much more striking. I guess if you were going for a kind of a realistic palette at the time, striking wasn't.
Yeah, but they were looking to create this really dark underworld alien planet.
You can still
in
do
the
that
mines and everything like that. I mean,
I feel
Limbo.
like you can do that with more interesting visuals. So look at the colour palette; it's the same screen to screen to screen to screen. It's all
Right, but Limbo was very abstract, and this isn't.
Yeah.
So you'd have
Limbo
to,
was all in silhouette.
You'd have to think of an example of a game that had this sort of aesthetic, but was.
Well, I was just going to mention actually
Better
that there was a
performed.
game, I don't know if you guys ever played on the PlayStation, called Heart of Darkness.
yeah,
About a boy and a dog. I
that was
mean,
much
I've
better,
just
yeah.
got some screenshots there. I mean, but if you remember that was about a boy and his
Oh, yeah,
dog
it's the
going
same,
in,
like, colour
and it's
palette.
very similar to
No,
Abes
it's
Story,
not.
but it's
Look
a
at-
little bit brighter.
It's
and a
more
little bit-
colourful. I played Heart of Darkness
Yeah,
when it came
it's-
out, and that was way prettier.
It was a weird one. It wasn't
There's
as
one
popular.
picture
Right,
of
yeah.
daylight.
No, but just like aesthetically, they used more than 2 or 3 colours, and it wasn't like all factory industrial crap.
Thing is, having said that, we've done Quake before.
Silent Hill, man. Resident Evil. Those were bad graphics.
Silent Hill had
And visually
some of the,
dull.
Silent Hill 2 had some of the. Silent Hill 2 had more advanced graphics for its time than this game did by a huge margin.
No.
That game was one of the most technically adept when it came out. I mean, this
The fog.
the fog. Yeah.
I think one of the. I mean, you're right. I agree completely that actually the visually, yeah, they are like industry and all that sort of stuff. But I guess one of the other things to remember, maybe doesn't matter now, but at the time, yeah, it was doing something very different that people hadn't seen. It didn't have guns in it. It didn't have people jumping in people's heads. Everything was brown. Everything was green. It was very dark. It was very miserable. The lead character was never going to sell Coca-Cola or anything like that. He was never going to become a frontman for the PlayStation because
He
he was
tried
this
his best.
green alien.
And his mouth is sewn shut.
And yeah, and like Andy said, it was almost like they were trying to shoot themselves in the foot by giving him a ridiculous voice, and he was like, and it's almost all designed to, which I guess I'll
It's
talk
like
about.
the anti-game.
Well, that's what I guess that's what will bring me to Oddworld Inhabitants, the game studio. But yeah, it is almost like they want to do everything a little bit different out of the norm.
Did you guys ever watch that video where John Lennon was performing Johnny Be Good and Yoko Ono is there?
Yoko Ono screams,
and
yeah.
she's just screaming into the microphone.
Is that
What?
this game for you?
That is this game. That
What
this game.
is that? We're going to have to watch that after.
There's a great, I think it's Bill, who's the comedian talking about it? So that's the same video I've
Oh,
seen.
I haven't seen the comedian talking
Bill
about it, but
Hadley or Hadder or something, I can't remember his name.
Bill
but
Hader.
he's talking about how John Lennon's getting to play with Chuck Berry, and obviously John Lennon grew up because of, like, he learned to play the
Yeah.
guitar with Chuck Berry, so he's so excited. He's on stage and they're playing this song, and Yoko Ono's just like banging a bongo, and she's clearly like, I want to be involved in this. So she just grabs a mic and starts screaming.
Yeah.
And like Chuck
Like,
Berry just kind of
tunelessly.
looks up and goes, "What is that?"
Yeah,
and then
his
she does it.
eyes.
She does it twice, and it is very kind
they
of like.
later turned off her microphone.
God.
which I
Oh,
liked.
God.
But yeah, that's my point. She's
Which
trying.
I like.
She's trying to do something. She's trying to do something striking. Something. Oh, this is different. This is new. Nobody will expect this. Worthless. Totally ugly.
That is not the same as this
I'm not
at
sure
all.
I agree with that statement, just because this game seems like they were trying their best to go for a realistic aesthetic with the limitations at the time for like a world that isn't easy to represent realistically.
There's as much light and color in the world as there is darkness and dirt and whatever.
Yes,
though.
but this is set in a dark place.
I mean realistic for this setting, because
Yeah,
obviously
but then
Yeah.
provide some aesthetic variation. Don't just have the same color palette from start to finish.
But
Otherwise,
there is no aesthetic variation in this universe.
then that's terribly designed. That's boring. It's dull. You need more creative innovation there.
But
Well,
it doesn't
their-
matter. It doesn't
their
matter. We should move
aesthetic-
on from this.
their aesthetic intentions aside, the way they delivered, I think, is impressive, even though the aesthetic itself is not. And I
Yeah.
think the only game I could think of that's similar to this in execution is the Donkey Kong games at the time on the SNES.
Yeah, totally.
But obviously they went for a different aesthetic that was easier to represent
Yeah.
less realistically, because it had like bold, colourful shape to it.
It's interesting you're saying this, James, as well, because it kind of goes along with the. I don't know if I was saying to these guys before. Oddworld Inhabitants were a very, very interesting game studio. They're very, very well respected in the games industry. And I mean, not very good proof of that, but the Wikipedia page on Oddworld Inhabitants is insane. It's huge. It almost feels like someone wanted to write a book about them. And they basically, after 2005, I think it was Strangest Wrath on the Xbox.
Yeah.
They turned around with like 130 people. I don't know how many people working there. They just said, we're sick of the whole publisher model, publisher paying us. They had to rush this game out in 9 months. And they said it was horrible. And they went, we're bored of it, and just closed the studio down. And everyone was kind of like, oh, what, you're not going bankrupt? You're not running out of money? Like, nope, we're just bored of the publisher model. We're going to leave it. To the point where I've even got a quote from one of the developers working there at the time when he said they closed the studio because the financing model where the publisher provides the funds for the studio meant the publisher could dictate the kinds of marketing decision like the one made EA to cut Strangest marketing. And then like a former employee in 2005 said, quite honestly, they had one of the best teams in the industry and they just threw it away. So they're kind of bitter about it.
That's kind of what Irrational pulled with their whole, we want to do smaller indie stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's still happening a little bit now, and it's a very interesting, that when they did it at the time, I remember reading it and being like, whoa, that's surprising.
They still might have been losing money, because this sort of
yeah,
game
sure.
has a limited appeal over
Yeah.
time.
Definitely.
You could not make this now unless you were in, like, a lot of indie companies are making this kind of game, but you could not make this now if you were a big company.
Yeah.
The two owners, Lorne Lanning and Sharon McKenna, they weren't from a games industry background, they were from, like, computer graphics background. That's why the graphics on this are so interesting, a bit different. Well, maybe arguably interesting, but because they weren't from a gaming background, they wanted to push, kind of do different things. They wanted to tell stories. They were making this as kind of, I don't know what the term is for it, but it was going to be based in kind of like a franchise. It was going to be like in a movie world where it had places to go. They didn't really want to do sequels. They wanted to tell other stories within the odd world. And it never kind. That's why kind of Strangest Wrath is such a different game altogether, about a first-person shooter, about like a bounty hunter. But very
Oddworld
interesting.
struck me as I didn't play the later games, but Oddworld strikes me as a sort of IP that they would create a lot of spin-offs from. I can't remember if they did create a spin-off, but just like with the Rabbids with Rayman, because that was a huge success for Ubisoft. And this struck me as the kind of thing where the main games might dwindle down, but the world would be used. For
They ended up only doing Oddworld's Abe Odyssey, Oddworld's Munch's Odyssey in 2001, and then Exoddus in 98, and Strangest Wrath in 2005.
Munch's Odyssey might be what I'm thinking of, because that wasn't featuring Abe, was it? That was a different.
They've lent the game to other studios to be done, and they started recently doing lots of weird stuff. They've done like a TV show called Citizen Siege. They were going to try and make a TV show, the guys, and they stopped doing it. Then they tried to make this thing called X-Mob, which was like a YouTube meets Facebook for games stuff, and it was really weird. It was just, they keep trying. They kept on trying different stuff, which is fair enough. And they always, the both of them are always at like GDCs giving talks and stuff like that. So they are very influential, very well respected. But yeah, they're obviously most known for the Oddworld games.
Yeah,
It's weird that they get so much praise and prestigious bestowed upon them, if that's the right word, when they only threw out like 3 games.
yeah. I guess they were pretty striking at the time, just because of their differences.
Yeah, I mean, also in the games industry, people do get cult followings based mostly on reputation and cult of celebrity rather than actual talent or influence. Like Tim Schafer, case in point. Or like someone like Cliff Bleszinski or even Will Wright, you know.
The latest was Lanning talking about X-Mob, and he went to Eurogamer and Expo in 2012, said, it was a disaster, it's not worked out. And then just last year, when Sony announced PS4, he revisited the launch and failure of X-Mob, and he explained that the connectivity, the controller, the sharing, the camera technology available on Sony's new console was the kind of technology he tried to create with X-Mob before finding it cost prohibitive. So he kind of just said, that's what I was basically trying to do. It was like, well, yeah, but I'm sounding really negative on these like 2 developers. I shouldn't be negative about them at all. Anyway, what they're doing now is basically Just Add Watership. They're working with Yorkshire or Guildford. I thought they were based in Yorkshire, but they might be based in Guildford now. I think about Just Add Water. They're releasing a HD remake of Abe's Odyssey. They released. It's called New and Tasty, I believe is the name.
Is that not already out?
It's coming out in about 3 weeks, I think.
Right, because I assumed it was already out, since I was hearing a lot about it months ago. But I guess that was the announcement.
I'm just scrolling, so it won't really impress people at home. But just imagine lots of words going by on a page. That's the article for Oddworld Inhabitants.
I'm sure they didn't write it themselves.
I've
That's
seen
what
longer.
makes me wonder. And I've read all that,
Jesus.
and I can't remember a single thing.
That's well referenced as well.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Oh, actually, Wikipedia is a very reliable resource.
Um,
But it's strange that there are like a lot of games which are well known and have stood the test of time with their reputation is because they're very well designed games, just like Super Mario World, for example.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Super Mario World even though they don't play games. But this game has kind of stood the test of time, even though if you go back and play it now, it's not impressive in any way, and it's really frustrating for someone like me who likes guns and...
Well, it got a cult
ease.
following, didn't it? It's people propagate the name by having the small, close-knit communities and sort of discussing the
I'm
games.
going to throw you on your heads on this one, guys, though, because I was one part of my trivia was actually Abe's Odyssey made $180 million, which was astronomical numbers.
Wow.
But it was a massively
Was there any kind
game.
of console bundle?
I honestly don't know, but it sold astronomical, and I remember it was really well loved.
180 million?
Dollars, yep, for the first game. And that's why the second game, they turned around to them and said, get this out before the end of Christmas. Had 9 months to do it, and they said, yeah, it was a development hell. That's why the second game is basically a lot like the first game with just a few more tweaks on it, and it was
Wait.
the first time they weren't happy about it.
Also, assuming what $40 per copy, that's like 500,000 sales.
I don't know the math in my head, but don't forget, for PlayStation 1, even if it was 500,000, that's bloody good sales for a game that came from a small team.
500,000 isn't crazy now.
It's half a million.
Not many. And $40, well, it would have been more, right? New.
Could have been less, it could have been $30. It was a very good number of sales. It was a very successful game. That's
I
when
guess they rode the...
They wouldn't have invested more than 180 million in the game, so therefore it would have turned a profit.
Oh, totally, yeah, back then, yeah.
So
at
in
£10,
video games, that's successful.
I guess if you get a good game out, or a game that impresses people at the time of a console release, you're pretty much guaranteed success, just because there's no other games for people to buy.
Yeah, totally.
Case in point, you buying Killzone for the PS4.
I bought that as a tech demo, though, not as a game. So.
Yeah, exactly. Tech demo. Like, you paid that much money for a tech demo, and they're getting the money from that.
No, I bought it second hand. Sony ain't getting
Oh, nice.
Beep.
Too late.
I'm trying to think what else we could say about Abes Exoddus that I had written down, but does anyone else have anyone they want to share about it?
It's slow and frustrating, but I still find it kind of impressive.
Why? Save your reviews for the end.
Oh, yeah, I should already think of... Well, you've got to tell us what to do first.
What about music? James, this is normally your forte.
I don't feel strongly about the music one way or the other. It wasn't bad. It certainly wasn't bad. But it didn't... I mean, there's so many... At this point, there's so many phenomenal soundtracks that I'd be reticent to say it was good.
Game at a time, GameSpot gave it 9.4, IGN gave it 7.8, PC Zone gave it 7 out of 10, so reviews were mixed. I mean,
9.4?
9.4 from GameSpot.
Well,
there wasn't like the big review cabal back then. They weren't all coordinating review scores, so there was bound to be
it wasn't
more.
as well known, but maybe it existed in secret backrooms.
Maybe.
PC Zone said it was beeping hard. You sometimes dread to moving into a new area of the game. And IGN criticised trial and error gameplay, saying that the same trial and error scheme is frustrating as a thorn in your heel. Several areas simply leave you stranded and you have to start over. But won many awards, including E3 Showstopper from GamePro in '98, E3 Best of Shows winner list, and lots of awards won as well.
I feel like graphics will win you a lot of those awards.
Yeah,
that's true.
But that dreading going into the next area of the game is so indicative of why... I don't know if I should have used indicative then. But that's an example of why I don't like a lot of games, just because if I don't want to move into the next level, especially games that have jump scares.
Exactly, yeah.
If I've
jump scares.
If
I don't like the game. It's scary.
If I've gotten past like a section of a game that's got jump scares, I just never play it again because I don't want to get into the next section at all. And making you want to load it up again is what games should do. So this kind of game, just because it's difficult and you can screw yourself over pretty easily, it makes you not want to load the game up again.
Yeah, but then
it's difficult, it's complex, it's aesthetically maybe not off-putting to you guys, but certainly not enticing. It's
I can
kind of
generously say it's a challenge. In a lot of different ways.
I don't think they liked it, Jack.
I think it's fantastic.
I really liked it as well. I enjoyed it when I was a child.
I enjoyed the jump scares because I'm not a complete wimp.
I like the aesthetic. I like the characters. They're a bit freaky. They freaked me out at first when I was a child, but then got used to them. Found the fart button. It was brilliant.
Do you guys like trying new things? You're quite set in your ways, you two.
No, he did.
I've been to Wagamama like 50 times in my life, and every time I've got the chicken katsu curry without salad. So I think you might be on something there, Jack. Actually,
and you only listen to classic music. You're yet to embrace.
I don't only listen to classical music. I have broader musical taste than anyone else I know. Are you kidding me?
Classical is all you listen to.
He listens to
Chopin.
Stop winding him up.
David Bowie.
Chopin.
David Bowie, yeah.
Trying new things is a rich thing to say when we're on a retro gaming podcast.
Yeah.
This is about trying old things.
He's got you there, Jack.
Next week we'll do like more Black Ops 2 or something. It's not really a new thing. Not really a new thing. Actually, I could think of a new game. It's like
that must have come out before 2005.
Mario Kart 8. Well, I guess we're ready to wrap up on the show then. Yeah, we all good with that. Oh, trivia. Yeah, everyone likes trivia. I pretty much said most of it already, to be honest, and I'm quickly just switching programs on my iPad.
Now he's watching Casualty.
Don't you mean apps?
He has actually just loaded up YouTube. He's watching a cat video.
I've discovered this company at the
He's watching
moment.
Baby Monkey riding on a pig.
I don't want to give them advertisement because they're shameful, but all they do is make videos of top 10 things, like top 10 battle scenes and stuff like that. And I don't know what it is about humans, but whenever it's a number thing, I'm like, what? Like, I have to know what
BuzzFeed.
number one is.
Is that like the cracked.com YouTube channel you're talking about?
No,
BuzzFeed.
they're called. Oh, I don't know. Like,
You're that person
they're
that
like-
actually watches the top 100
No, but they're like,
countdown.
it's a professional voiceover because normally when I put these things on, straight away there'll be some guy will appear. It's really annoying. We're
Why
talking
don't
for
you
4
just skip to the
minutes
end and
going.
look at number
goes,
one?
Hi guys, me here from Jonathan. So
It's all about the
that's like, oh, this guy. But no, this one's just got a nice voiceover. Jumps straight in, number 10, and it just jumps straight in. And I like that.
Is it Alan Partridge?
We
thought that was all Tony
we should
Brett.
do like our top 10 Retrograde episodes. Number 1. Well,
We have got
it'd be this-
54 to choose from.
It'd be
now.
this one.
No, it would be
No.
Gunstar Heroes.
No.
It'd be the one with Magikarp in it.
So some trivia about Abes Exoddus. Yeah, I've pretty much said all about it. Development was a nightmare. Lorne Lanning, director of both games, said we killed ourselves getting Abes Exoddus done in 9 months. It was brutal. McKenna reiterated it was hell, not fun. We got it done in 9 months because that's what you're supposed to do, deliver on time. A Game Boy Color port was released as Oddworld Adventures 2, developed by Sapphire Corporation.
Do you guys remember all the Game Boy Color ports back in the day?
Yeah.
GTA 2. All these PlayStation 1 games got ported to Game Boy Color. Whose idea was that?
Like Resident
grotesque.
Evil almost got one. And yeah, they are making a new game. They're making a HD remake of Abe's Odyssey called New and Tasty. And it's going to be coming out soon, as long as it's not already out. Let's double check that. Originally, when Abe's Odyssey was originally called Soulstorm,
Soulstorm.
What a
Yep.
terrible name.
That
Well,
sounds
they-
like a game with fighting in it.
when
Yes.
they changed it. And I was just going to give a bit more, well, it's Abe's Odyssey trivia, but some just stuff about it. When it was released in Japan, they had to change 2 things. There was a severed head atop a stick in one of the introductory movies about it, and they just released it. And at the time, they just said, "Oh, it's because it was a happier image." Blah blah blah. It was not until 2011 that Lanning revealed that why the image was changed for Japanese audience. A week before press was to begin in Japan in the market, a Japanese middle school student murdered a peer, severed his head, and hung it on the fence at school.
Jesus.
And I know Lanning said it was very distressful, but
And that's smart.
and they said so. They obviously altered it, but I thought, wow, very impressive that they did that and then kept it secret. Normally, game studios would back in those days, they were played
I seem
upon it.
to remember, I think it was Advance Wars, but maybe not. But there was a game that they delayed the release of because of 9/11. 2001 would have been the first Advance Wars, I think.
I remember they changed the ending to Metal Gear Solid 2, I think, because it had Twin Towers based in it.
Yeah, they
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that.
like that happens. Well, not a lot because there aren't a lot of major worldwide terror attacks, but well, not in the West at least anymore.
They also
We've had this exact conversation before, at least a year ago. I remember wanting to say just now that that's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane that they're changing this just in case they offend someone. But then I remember back in the day, you guys told me that was a ridiculous opinion to have and not to say on air.
good opinion, Anthony. Good opinion, nice one. Also, Abe originally only had 3 fingers, and for some reason in Japan that's like offensive to show someone with 3 fingers. I don't know why.
Really?
So they
Oh,
changed
lots
it.
of
And
weird
they
things are offensive in
gave them
Japan.
the thumb. I know in Japan it's because we had a problem on a game we were working on. It's offensive to show chopsticks sticking in rice,
Sticking out of rice, yeah.
sticking out of rice
Why?
because.
Oh, do you want to field this one?
No, you go, Anthony. Go on.
Oh, it's because it reminds people of when you're commemorating the dead. You put incense in. sand.
Commiserating the dead, or bad luck.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You mean commemorating?
Yeah, you stick incense in the sand so that it sticks up, and that looks
Yeah.
similar to chopsticks, so people don't leave their chopsticks sticking out of rice upwards.
Yeah, we had that problem. No, we did on the game we were making. We had like an achievement icon that was like.
What game are you making? How
this
to
is
eat
years.
with
This
chopsticks?
was years
or
ago. I
something?
think it was like we had a Japanese level or something. So naturally we did rice and chopsticks.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Playing to
Racist.
stereotype.
And lastly, the only thing I thought was quite interesting that Oddworld Inhabitants, when they kind of handed over the franchise. I mean, well, they own every single element of the Oddworld franchise. No one else owns it. So when they got Just Add Water to help them make these new games, they gave them 15 terabyte archive of original assets from the Oddworld's time in game development.
Wow.
15 terabytes. That's awesome.
Back in those days, that's like a lot.
Yeah.
Retrograde.
And on that
It was on
note,
floppy disks.
we get to the retrograde part of the show. Retrograde. So, Lizanne, how are we going to grade this one?
I'm really excited about this
It's a
because it's very abstract, which you all like, James.
Oh no.
And it's very audio based, and it's based on my favourite feature of the game.
Oh.
We are reviewing this game in farts.
See, I
You
don't
have
like
to
that.
it's abstract. You have to do the sound of the type of fart
we-
that this game is, okay? So you might have a little
God, our listeners
You might
are
have a
going to love
little-
this bit.
No. Can we do just noises in general?
Yeah,
No, fart noises.
I'm
Because of
absolutely
the
not
fart
doing that.
button.
I'm definitely not.
It's
doing
really
that.
funny.
No, because we can't think up 4 different farts and have them mean
Yes,
something.
you can. I just did 2.
No, I'm saying have them mean something like actually be meaningful.
Okay.
I think noise.
Let's do this then. You
oh.
you tell me what your review is, and I'll do the fart noise that accompanies your review.
Like
No, no. We're gonna do noises, okay? We're not doing farts.
I think we should do noises because I've got a good
What
noise.
noises?
Toilet view
Just
is the
random
purview
noises.
of, like those disc jockeys in America who no one likes except for idiots. So I think if we
Okay,
do fart
are we
sounds,
just doing random noises?
My noise.
Right, just okay, fine. Just do noises.
My noise would be like that because it's surprising, it's interesting. You go, I wasn't expecting that. That's the kind of noise I was going. But like impressed by it, quite fancy. Good fun. It's an enjoyable noise to make.
Is that why we've done it like 5 times in a row?
And that would be my noise, Abes Exoddus.
I didn't quite catch it. What was it?
Like that.
I really can't wait to read the spreadsheet
This is
after
the-
this episode, so Jack
This
has
is
to
the
spell all these
worst.
noises.
Yeah, Anthony or anyone else.
I'm gonna do the sound of an empty stomach that's hungry.
Go on, do it.
Because that reminds me a lot of the theme of it, like the tone of this game, but it's also thematically, well, I just said theme, so I don't mean thematically. In terms of what that noise means to me, it's also kind of interesting to hear, but it's not really something you want to hear very regularly. Especially not if you're like, on a date, or in an interview, or on a date, or in an interview.
A funeral.
Can't think. A funeral.
Yeah.
For my A-level English lit exam, I was really nervous beforehand, and sometimes I feel quite sick when I get really nervous. So I didn't eat breakfast, and throughout the entire 2.5-hour written exam in silence, my stomach was just rumbling constantly. So
Did people hear it?
Oh yeah, no, everybody heard it. It was like a megaphone. It was insane.
Before I forget, this is not related except for the A-level exams part, which is not about grading games. But
Brilliant. Just tell us.
You might like the story though.
Go on,
I
then.
was in I think it was computer science, film studies, something like that. But the examining board was the Welsh examining board, EdXL, I think.
EdXL aren't the Welsh examining board.
I was with EdXL for some of my
It's one of the-
EdXL are English.
It's one of the Welsh ones.
SHE.
And so, SHEEP.
Carry on.
Jesus, chat.
And so every single exam, like answer paper, has the instructions in both English and Welsh because they have to print them in both because they're Welsh.
Aye.
And so we weren't in Welsh, we were in Cornwall, so we didn't need the Welsh instructions or whatever. But they said to us before the exam, make sure you read all the instructions on the answer booklet, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at it, I thought of a funny joke. After the exam started, I called over one of the the people who walk around the room, making sure you're not cheating. I said, they told us to read all of the instructions, but half of these are in Welsh. I was wondering if you could get maybe a Welsh translator or a dictionary in here, because I don't want to miss any. And she said, oh, no, those are the same instructions repeated in a different language. Oh, they're the same instructions. Okay, thank you. The next exam I was in, the guy was like, read all the instructions on the front of the paper and don't be like a person yesterday who said, I can't read half of them because they're in Welsh. And I couldn't do anything, but I wanted to throw my hands in there, like, yes, celebrity!
That is a very good story.
That's like the old dad joke of when you get like instructions in any device and you go, how am I going to build this? It's in 12 different languages. Anyway. Why does a stomach rumble? That was the other noise I was going to
Because it's empty.
How else would you know?
I think
It's
it's
the
just like...
stomach juices
Yeah, but is it what? Is it
gurgling
just
around.
gases
I
in
think
there
it's the
going,
gases.
Yeah.
we're having a right party down here?
It's the gases and the acids.
The little man who's
Bubbling around.
inside, when you haven't given him enough offerings, just starts to beat the shit of your interior stomach.
Beep!
I'm going
But
to cut
the
that out. I'll
Zan's
cut that out. I'll
noise-
cut that out.
was...
It's that, yeah,
That's
that
the
makes
noise.
sense.
That's the noise. Because it's the sound of frustration. It's because whilst I really enjoyed the game and I liked the game, it's just, every time you do the same thing wrong, you do something a little bit different wrong, and it's the trial and error thing, which I agree isn't the best mechanic. However, I did still really enjoy the game, so that's why I'm giving it.
How is that latter part conveyed in the... Because that's a pretty negative noise, but you've got...
Well, no, because if I was really frustrated by it, then you'd be hearing the rage quitting, which would be the noise.
Whoa.
Okay.
Fix up.
There go the levels.
I try to aim away from the mic.
That also makes
But I
sense,
would
because that's
make-
the noise you make when you have a delicious cup of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I was going to say,
On
when I
a
get the
hot summer
bath, I
day.
go,
Yeah, there's some satisfaction in there as well as the
Yeah.
frustration, so I
Yeah.
sort of appreciate
That's
that.
what she said. Phrasing. Sorry. Yeah. Phrasing.
And James,
Sorry.
your noise.
My noise, it goes like... and that is the noise of you'll actually know this one, Lisanne. It's more tactile than just a noise, but when you're going behind like a school or like university or college cafeteria or whatever, and like the thing that like I don't know what it is, but it's like an air vent and you can smell like fried chicken and it's really hot and it's like the
extractor.
The
extractor, and it's like you walk through it and then afterwards you feel kind of oily and it makes a horrible noise and it smells bad.
Yeah, get those behind Chinese places and Indian.
And it's like, oh, it's just all over me and it's disgusting.
You feel kind of oily because it's blasting hot air with oil in it at you.
Probably that, yeah. Just like this game does. So, yeah.
This game does make me think of the back of a KFC, I can admit that. Like, just the visuals are very back of KFC-esque.
Yeah.
That's
which
very
is a
true.
word. Don't look it up in dictionary, listeners.
Back of KFC-esque. Maybe they
Back
put that
of
on
the
the
KFC.
Maybe they put that on a
Spell it right.
box.
Visuals that remind you of the back of the KFC.
Everyone go to the back of a KFC. Don't need to go to Abes Exoddus. Well, there you go. Yeah, thanks for listening. And you can find all information and links regarding this podcast, as well as all other sister podcasts at psycon.net. So make sure to check it out. And just a reminder that the Retrograde podcast is hosted on the Psycon network. So head over to Psycon, CSICON.tv to become a patron for our show and support us, because we'll make more episodes then. Yay! We want to get to 100.
Or we won't make more episodes if that's your thing. Just donate, please.
Let's get to 56. No, do. We're going to be back in 2 weeks where we're going to be playing Warcraft 3, chosen by James.
Oh, yeah.
Any quick summary why?
It has a good story and it has a good gameplay thing in it.
Surprisingly
The
good
gameplay.
story for-
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I guess we shouldn't.
And the
discuss that
music
now.
and it's such a good game. I
Oh, well,
loved it.
we had
yeah.
story and music this week, but, apparently that wasn't good enough.
well,
Alex's story
it was
wasn't
ugly,
good
so-
enough.
Because I
Yeah.
got confused a couple of weeks ago and played Warcraft 3 for GTA 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to play GTA 2 for
Okay,
next week.
okay.
So I'm going to turn up for next episode
They're-
to talk about GTA 2.
They're basically the same game, so that works.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they? Good.
Top
I'm
down,
glad.
aren't they? Top
I'm
down.
glad.
is it the same?
Yeah, top
It's like all
down.
2D platforms are the same, James?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Although I guess Warcraft 3 is top-down 3D, and GTA 2 is top... Well, it's also 3D, I guess.
Spoilers!
Cars don't handle as well.
It's like a
either.
point-and-click adventure game, but about the point-and-click.
Literally, the entire way you play that game is by pointing and clicking, Jack.
The cars don't handle as well. I suppose if you're walking along and finding a car amongst some trees in Warcraft 3, getting in and be like, this handles terribly, and getting out of your arms and carry on mining some
Oh
gold.
man, where's my SUV?
Oh,
Anyway,
more of that next time, guys. Anyway, and that's goodbye from me, Jack Marshall, a goodbye from Anthony Hobday,
goodbye.
a goodbye from Zan Fisher,
Bye.
and a goodbye from James McFadden.
I think that I never got to discuss this on the show last time, but No Man's Sky looks really good. I'm really excited. But never have so few people promised me so much. So, yeah, we'll see how that happens. See you later, guys.